shine on the Bob Ross Rewatch. Bob's gonna paint some forest trees, gonna tell us that it's a breeze to paint golden rays of joy.
Coming to you live from deep within a shadowy forest at the end of the Fisherman's Trail, overlooking the tranquil seas and capturing the splendor of autumn. It's the joy of Bob Ross, a happy little podcast. The podcast that soars under pastel skies and peeks inside every old weathered barn to uncover Bob Ross stories of joy. And tonight, we're sharing that joy with you. And with certified Ross instructor Ed Mueller, research scientists SciAnts, plus the soothing sounds of Buddy Raccoon and the Rewatch Country Band, and your happy little host, Rod Scalzo.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Right on, right on. All right, settle down. Woo, settle down, friends and squirrels. It's just me. Welcome back. So glad you can join us today or tonight, depending on where you are. It's the Joy of Bob Ross, a happy little podcast. And in between sharing our firsthand accounts, happy little stories, and fan Bob interviews from around the world since 2022, we've been hopping in the time machine, popping in here once every month to share our admiration for a classic Joy of Painting episode with you and with some colorful characters in the Bob Ross universe. We've located the film in the dusty metal cabinet of an abandoned public television station. We're transferring it to Laserdisc as we speak. So real quick, before we bring out our guests, let's get you caught up on what's happening in the world of Bob Ross. Our latest episode, Super Bob, recaps our time at Comic-Con last month. We met nerds, we were nerds, we bought junk, we gamed, we painted, and director James Spielberg Shapiro whipped out his camera for this special video episode. Here's a little clip for you.
Faster than a speeding squirrel, more powerful than imagination. It's a bird, it's a painter. It's Super Bob!
I see it as being two American heroes, Bob Ross, Spider-Man.
That ability to give something to someone and show them that they can do something is like the best blessing I could have.
Science is the making of knowledge, and art is the making of meaning.
The podcast returns in mid-Bobtober. We got a story about Bob Ross cabins and spooky old barns in the spirit of the season. And spoiler alert, there is a brand new exhibit coming to the Bob Ross Experience in Muncie, Indiana, that's related to cabins and barns. And then we're back here on Halloween week for a spooky old rewatch with our old friend, certified Ross instructor Chris Severin, and a special guest to be announced. Until then, why not enjoy all 65 happy little episodes of The Joy of Bob Ross wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, right here on Twitch and on YouTube on the Bob Ross channel. And it truly wouldn't be the joy of painting unless we shared it with others. So let's welcome our first guest. He's a certified Ross instructor from Las Vegas. He's also a Navy man and apparently a Star Trek fan. Ed Mueller. Hello, Ed.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Looking forward to going ahead and watching this episode.
Well, you picked it, so I hope you're looking forward to it. Now, I trust those are those your Bob Ross paintings, Bob Ross hybrid paintings behind you?
Those are just a few of them, only three of I've lost count of how many I've got.
Now, you are a certified Ross instructor. We feature one CRI at least on every one of these rewatches to get that, expertise for the folks who are here who want that extra layer of commentary about how Bob works his magic. And we featured tons of CRIs on the podcast since the start, in our narrative episodes, in our video episodes. But Ed, we've never met you before, and you've been doing this for 25 years. So where have you been all our lives?
All our lives. I've been painting happy little trees and happy little mountains and such. Yeah, I've been during the time that I would be on shore duty, I would go ahead and teach happy little paintings to people. I just love the idea that anybody can paint. Put your mind to it, and you can actually paint a picture very close to what Bob would do. And now, of course, we're off. We teach all over the country at various fandom conventions. They take Bob's ideas and things of that nature and make them fit in with Star Trek, for example, or the TV show Supernatural, or all sorts of other things.
Now, the CRIs that we've met are from all different walks of life, different ages, different genders. And one through line, as the host who's interviewed a bunch of these people at this point, is the stories that led to them doing this in the first place. Obviously, I'd love to talk to you about it. Maybe we'll have a beer sometime. We could talk about it for an hour. But in as short as you can and put it, like, how did you get started and with Bob Ross and landscape painting in the first place?
I was stationed at the University of Idaho as a staff member up there at the ROTC unit, and one of the little craft stores up there said, "Paint like Bob Ross." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of fun." I've seen him on TV, and I don't have the patience to paint for a long time. So if I can do a painting in 30 minutes, maybe that'll work. 5 years later, I was teaching how to do it when I was on shore duty. Retired from the Navy in 2009, and by 2011, I was teaching full time.
We have a photo here of you teaching Bob Ross paintings at one of these Star Trek conventions. And I want to take this opportunity to commend you. As you can see, you're donning the wig. You got the full Star Trek uniform on. Who are you there? Are you Sulu? Which is that a
Yeah,
particular officer uniform? I'm not as big a fan as you are.
yeah, that's just a standard old command uniform with the Star Trek thing. If you actually see my shoulder, I've got the hollow emitter on there, so I was actually a hollow Bob. Then, if you're a big fan of Star Trek, so there you go.
We're going to go from sci-fi to science. Our next guest is one half of an education-based duo that spreads the joy of science via various mediums, podcasts, children's books, and especially here on the Twitch. Please welcome one half of SciAnts. It's Lita from SciAnts. Hey, Lita.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. You are the wife in the husband and wife team of what are self-described science communicators. And of
Yeah.
course, we're doing a Bob Ross rewatch. We said we got to get a couple of scientists. We got to get who do we know as a PhD in biology who can talk about art? And here you are.
Right? I mean, it's like we were made for each other. I don't know how we didn't meet up sooner, honestly.
Now, SciAnts, it's right there in the title. It's very clever, by the way. What is the fascination with ants slash insects? Is what type of science do you teach the people in general?
Well, we talk all things biology. My husband and I are molecular biologists. SciAnts started just from live streaming leafcutter ants. That was the whole stream. It was an animal stream watching leafcutter ants. That was our version of science communication. My husband was doing his postdoctoral research on leafcutter ants, and they're incredibly charismatic and charming and beautiful if you just sit down and watch them. And so that's how it started. And then people started asking questions. And pretty soon the ants were gone, and it was just us talking to people, whether it be from the lab or from home. And it's just taken off from there.
Now, in addition to your fervor for science, you were very clear to include in your website and in your socials and on your Twitch channel that you are also art fans. And I thought it's that time of year where education is back on everybody's minds, especially parents and children. And I'm hoping that during the course of this episode, this rewatch, that it will just come out organically. But I'd love to hear quickly your Bob Ross story and why a biologist, someone who's into ants, also is into art.
Yeah, well, my Bob Ross story, I have so many Bob Ross stories. but we're gonna come it back to the OG, y'all. The initial, this is like the origin story of me and Bob Ross. And I was a tiny little kid. My sister's quite a few years older than me and an incredibly talented artist. And I didn't understand why she was so much more talented than I was. And I used to complain and I was getting mopey. And I don't know if she was just tired of hearing about it or she finally took pity on me. But she sat me down and she said, Lita, the only difference between me and you, other than probably some dexterity skills given, a 4-year-old to a 9-year-old or whatever. But anyway, that aside, it's hard work. Anybody can be an artist. And she was my sister. She's my big sister. So I believed her like more or less, right? But then she sat me down in front of Bob Ross and she was like, look, this is a professional adult artist saying exactly the same thing that I'm saying to you. If you work hard, you can appreciate art and you can be an artist. And I took that to heart. I was an art kid all through high school. And even when I pivoted to science in college and graduate school, I took that with me. I believe that art is for everybody and science is for everybody. And not only can you appreciate science and the amazing work that's going on right now in research labs all over the world, but you can be a scientist. There's nothing special between me and anybody else other than I took more time to study science. You can study science and be a scientist, whether that means going through conventional paths or the unconventional. One of the most famous paleontologists, Jurassic Park, was essentially about Jack Horner. And he does not have a graduate degree. And he's one of the world's most well-respected paleontologists. He just works hard to understand science and to think like a scientist. And that makes him a scientist. Nobody's arguing that Jack Horner is or is not a scientist. He absolutely is. And so that's how it all circles back. I feel Bob in my life all the time.
As do I, as do most everybody we come across here on the podcast. Where's your sister now? Is she watching?
I don't know if she's watching. I texted her and she totally freaked out when I told her that I was going to be on. I don't know. I don't know if she's here or not. I don't want to call her out, but she might be lurking somewhere back there.
It's the internet. This will live on in perpetuity. She can always catch it later. That's the beauty of the world we're living in, and also the curse. All that is to say that on June 15th, 1993, Bob Ross created a unique shadowy forest that's probably full of insects, and also some happy twinkling sunbeams that almost pierce the darkness. We have this on good authority that this is, quote, undeniably the most talked about painting of Bob's ever. Ed Mueller, tell us why we're talking about it today.
Oh, goodness. This is, if you want to go ahead and start painting a Bob Ross painting, this is the place to start. You don't have to worry about any mountains. You don't have to worry about getting perspectives right. You can just go ahead and make a bunch of squiggly lines on a canvas and then glaze right on over it with oil paint. Absolutely everybody can do this. I've taught this 50 times to people at conventions over the past 3 years, and it works out wonderfully every time.
Our technical producer, Golden James of Sunshine Shapiro, he's back behind the trees, ready to hit play and pause on the VCR if and when we ask him to. So, put your sunblock on. It's the Joy of Painting, Series 28, Episode 4, the Bob Ross Rewatch Party, Golden Rays of Sunshine, with Ed and SciAnts. Let's roll it. Ed, do you have this outfit?
No, I don't, but I'm going to add it for a future convention.
House painting convention.
Maybe it calls for that.
Shout out to the early 90s special
Hi,
effects
welcome
and the
back.
5 fonts.
Certainly glad you could join us today. I thought today I'd show you a little painting that is so simple that even if you've never painted, you can do this one, guarantee. In fact, it's one of the little paintings that you see in the opening. I thought maybe we'd show you how that one was done. So I tell you what, let me show you what I've got up here. Today I just have a plain old double prime canvas, and I've painted it with black gesso and allowed the black gesso to dry completely. So it's totally dry. And we're going to start out today and we'll just use a paper towel that I've wadded up here. And I'm going to show you how to take gesso. We'll use black, white, and gray gesso in different combinations up here. And I'll show you how to make a little back painting. And then we'll come back and I'll put a canvas up that has a finished gesso painting on it. And I'll show you how to color it. It's that easy. It's harder to tell you than it is to show
dry,
you. So we'll just take our
when Bob says it, in this medium I've learned, is a very relative term. But the gesso, I believe, dries a hell of a lot faster than the oil paint, yes?
It does. It does. Yeah, this gesso will dry, depending on how the thing is. It'll be dry within 15 minutes. Unless
So I don't
it's
have to
thick,
wait till...
like it's right here in the center.
So I don't have to wait till the next day, so to speak. I can just get started with my paper towel. Also, Bob's painting with a paper towel.
That's our special guest brush today.
There. Isn't that fantastic? These
So
colored
Ed, you've
gessos
taught
are just
this
unbelievable.
particular style before, like with the paper towel, like in front of people, in front of students, you come out and you whip out a paper towel and you're just like, trust the process? Is that what happens there?
Yep, that's exactly it. We have painted this painting at, 50, like I said, 50 conventions doing this thing, tailoring it to the fandom that we're teaching at.
Don't fight with them. All right. A little bit more. And
I always
wherever.
love that about his artwork. It never seemed like you needed that many fancy tools to be able to recreate. I know he has special paints and special brushes, but a lot of what he has is easy to find, not pretentious stuff to express yourself.
Oh, absolutely. The whole idea of this really is to make art accessible. And if you have to have $14,000 worth of equipment to go ahead and paint, it's not so accessible. This is super easy for anybody to get involved with.
So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, a little bit over in here. And once again, with this gesso, we don't make
What
any
makes
mistakes.
this a particularly painting good for beginners? Bob says this at the top. I mean, he says it a lot. Is it lip service, or is it really a good painting for beginners? Because obviously it's got a lot of elements to it.
Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of paper towel work going on in this, but we're just putting down values. Everything works. It starts off looking like a dandelion, then it comes out looking like something a little fuzzier, like cotton, and then all of a sudden everything starts appearing. Then once you do some layers on into this, it's just amazing. Everything comes out. You don't have to worry. In all the teaching that I've done, putting snow onto a mountain is oftentimes the trickiest thing for a person to do. You've got no snow in this one. We don't really have a lot of palette knife work in this. This is super accessible.
Before I started the next thing, but here we don't have that luxury, so I'll just show you how you go about putting the next layer on. We'll just pretend that it's dry.
I don't know what's more mesmerizing, watching Bob apply the paint or watching the back of Bob's bulbous fro. Either way, it's a win, I feel.
Well, the center of it does kind of look like it.
Now, where we have the light area, I'm going to use
Scorch Hellfire
black
in the chat
gesso.
says he also uses a sponge in several episodes.
White gesso and gray in the middle. I want to graduate the color. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, I'd like a tally of how many times that paper towel is featured. I know it's more than just this time, but
He's also using Aunt Tilly's crystal candy dish to paint today.
Okay, See, we have both sides with a little bit of black on. I hope that shows. And we go up in here, and we have to make our first major decision.
So
Where
Ed, this is
appear-
still gesso that he's using.
Oh, he
Why
didn't
is
touch.
he decide?
And as you work down,
Why is
apply
he
more pressure. More
doing this foundation
Automatically, your tree trunk will get
first?
larger toward the
If that
base.
makes
Well,
sense.
you'll see it in a lot of his paintings where some paintings are black gesso or a white canvas, and then he'll do gesso around the edges of it if he wants to make some really dark areas that he wants to make pop. That's really what he's doing here, because if he goes ahead and lays in all of these dark layers, normally if you painted regularly and it was all done in oil paint, things would start smearing when you start doing stuff. This gesso underpaint just gives us a wonderful underpaint, and then you can just layer things over the top of it and nothing bleeds away or blends.
But see,
And
the
nobody is going to
variation?
tell you, hey, that tree is the wrong shape. It doesn't quite look straight or whatever. Trees have their own happy little personalities, and every shape that you throw in there is going to go ahead and work.
Wherever you want them to go. Maybe over here on this side. Maybe here's a old tree that's got a yonk in it, a little crook in it.
It's got a nyonk.
Trees
What
on
is a
Old
nyonk?
Street. I love 'em. Have old crooked areas.
Jaded Fairy in the chat. I just love watching him paint. Watching the scene just appear before your very eyes is so fascinating. Yeah, you're right in the middle of it.
The light source, the lighter you want these to become. And when we paint it, you'll understand why. A little bit of the gray there. When we apply oil color over the top of this dried gesso, then all of this makes sense. Now I've got a little script liner brush. It's just our regular little script liner brush.
Right now, if you wanted to, if you didn't feel confident about making little branches and such, you could leave these as just trees just standing up there and go ahead and paint over it, and it would be a perfect painting just like that.
There's always little baby trees
But
living amongst all these big ones. So we can put little more.
You know he's far from done just because of time, but yeah, like that. If he would have just stopped there, I'd be satisfied.
how many times have you watched Bob do a painting and you're like, oh, that's beautiful, let's do it, and then he does his bravery test?
Yeah, I have a feeling that's coming.
That's exactly where they should be. There we go.
This Art Ruiz says it's a knock in the tree, not a nyonk. I'm pretty sure he said nyonk, all due respect. And Bob makes up words and stories and sounds, so I'm going with nyonk.
As well as they do the colored version, that what you end up with.
I think this
So
is right. I
this
was
is an excellent
showing
way
my
to
toddler
study.
some of this while I was, just trying to get up
Teach
to
'em young.
speed on this particular episode. And this is about, I kept asking her what was it, and she didn't. And all of a sudden this, and she goes, tree. She got all of the sudden it came together for her. It was beautiful.
That's how I
I
respond.
feel watching him sometimes. Like, I know it's going to be there. I trust you, Bob. And then all of the sudden it like hits you. Oh my gosh, it's a mountain. Oh my gosh, it's a lake.
You don't even know where these little limbs and arms, who they belong to. Doesn't know that it matters. It's just filler for the background. And I'm not going to sit here and paint each and every one of these trees. I just want you to see basically how these trees are done. Something like so. And as you work across over into here and you get into the white trees, then you'll use white gesso to make its arms. About like that. I'll put a few on this old tree here, just a old crookedy limb. Just so we
Hey,
can
do you
see
make
what
the
he
noises?
looks like.
Is that
Sound effect.
it's like necessary?
And give your trees character.
It's absolutely necessary. The brush listens to you as you paint.
Come out both sides.
It's like,
Let you brush it.
Well, that's what
Let your
Bob
brush
says. Is like if you don't make the noises, the painting doesn't work, right? That's part of
As you play with
the
this,
process, so to speak.
you'll begin to shade areas. By that I mean you'll take a combination of the gray and white and mix it together, and you can shade the side of trees where you know light will be coming from. It's unreal what you can do with this.
So Ed, is it
You can
true?
actually
I've
paint
heard that it's harder to
kind of like
paint
little
a
barns
straight
with
line than it
gesso,
is
and then just come
a
back and put
crooked
little
line. Is that
grays basically
true?
over the
Because
top of it.
yep.
It's that easy.
Bob makes
we
everything
get
look
that.
easy.
He does. He absolutely does. But we get asked that all the time. People are like, I'll be doing a live demo or something, and people are like, "Oh, I couldn't do that. I can't even paint a straight line." And I'm like, if you look at any line in this painting, there is zero straight lines. If I need a straight line, I have a ruler, and other than that, nope. Everything is crooked, and quite honestly, even if your hand is shaky, you'll make better branches if your hand is a little bit shaky. So there you go.
Don't want you to have to go buy a new brush.
Ed, we have confirmation that you do
Take
make
care
the
of brushes,
noises
and they'll last for many, many years.
from the chat.
Yes, I do.
I have some limbs coming from over here where you don't know where they are. They're back over there somewhere because the trees didn't just stop right there. Let some limbs come from over here. It doesn't matter from where, but it'll make your painting look more realistic. Some little sticks and twigs. A little bit of gray gesso here and there to make some gray arms. But isn't that neat how you can make a whole forest that easy? And that's all there is to it. So I say, I'm not going to just spend the
This
whole
is the point in
time
the
period.
painting. We're looking at it. We thought, oh gosh, maybe one day we'll have cause to make a moody painting, because oftentimes we don't even want to put oil paint on it after we have done this. And yeah, sure enough, now we do. At least
Use the foam brush to do this.
this is how we come up
Just
with our
figure out where he
moody
lives.
convention paintings. And there's your bravery test right there.
Ruined.
He lives right there. I wanted him to come right across. There.
I don't know
But
that
these
I'd
little
have the stomach for it. It was so beautiful.
There, see, he's got a
gotta
big
trust the
arm that lives
process.
out here.
I know.
One over here. We don't know. Wherever you want them. And you can go back
That's
to your
why I
little
need
liner brush.
Ed. I
and
need Ed
once again,
holding
you
my
can add
hand
all
for the
the
bravery test. I don't know.
Ed holding your hand and making noises. That's all you need.
show you how they're done.
There we go. That little true. Come on. And there you are.
You see it totally different. And it's going to be better. It's going to be much
Now,
better. than
Lita,
this
we've
one.
seen paper towels, we've seen a foam brush. This is Bob at his mad scientist best so far, and it's going to get even crazier in just a couple of minutes. So to me, this is all about like the joy of experimenting. Is this part of what appeals to you about Bob, on top of the encouragement aspect?
Yeah, I love his creativity. And I think a lot of us are creative, but sometimes maybe we lack the confidence to really let it shine. And Bob is just there. And I can't tell you how many times amazing innovations in science have happened because somebody did not listen to the regular old, well, this is just how it's done, you know? And I feel like Bob is like, let me tell you how it's done. How it's done is however it works for you. And I think that's important for probably everybody's life experience. But as a scientist, I see it in art and I see it in my everyday experience in lab or even just talking to people. A lot of people can, I think, relate to that.
Just play these back and forth. So you get all these beautiful
We met a
variations.
physicist at Comic-Con who works at NASA, who teaches his interns to paint like Bob Ross, to make that distinction between science and art. So, I felt it wasn't a stretch to bring you here on top of being a fan to get all sciencey with us.
Oh no, I cannot tell you how tickled I was. Absolutely. But I think I imagine everybody has some kind of emotional, relationship with Bob Ross in this way, like the encouraging your creativity and pushing boundaries and stuff. And I think if you're not creative or you're not letting that creative side out, you're probably getting in your own way a little bit.
We have a couple of people in the chat saying this would be a good one for October and Halloween. I mean, if it stopped right now, I would agree with you, but stick around for the next 10 minutes. And Jazz and Wiki says Bob's belief in the process is unwavering.
I would let it dry between each and every layer. Now, I want to show you the completed painting. So I've went ahead and I've I've got a canvas here that's all dry that I've prepared exactly the
Spoiler
same
alert.
way. So allow me to step in front of this for just a second and change this canvas and put up
Well,
one that's
he did
already
a fair
finished.
bit of this, right? I've always heard he did a couple different versions of the same painting, like a practice one, and then, I mean, they're never identical, but that he'd do have like 2 or 3 of the same general painting. Ed, do you do the same thing? Is that common? You'll do a practice?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've always got a prototype of whatever it is. I have an idea in my head, and I go ahead and work it up, and then it changes over the year. This painting over on this side of me is the prototype of that painting, and it, after painting it so many times, it refines itself and gets better, and things change up, and it evolves.
This is the hardest part of the whole painting. If you can put the liquid clear on, the rest of it's easy.
This is when the painting just starts to transform for me. As soon as he starts touching it, it just, I feel like there's always in his videos, there's one moment where everything changes, and it's especially striking in this episode. I love that you picked this episode.
Even coat.
This one is wonderful because you're looking at it right now like it's an old black and white picture at this point, and all of a sudden, as I put it, the colorizing happens, and everything starts to pop then on it.
If you're in doubt and you think possibly that you may
Glued with
have too
gold in the
much,
chat says, my grandma introduced me to Bob Ross and art. Her best ever advice to me was, don't be afraid to get messy. Ed, do you get messy at Art Party for you?
I'm gonna go right into small.
Yes. No, not normally. No, that's why we provide aprons for people. But yeah, it happens sometimes with a little bit of paint. Invariably, if I'm not wearing an apron, is when I'll hit my shirt with something. But whatever.
Right over the top.
Clothing is a small price to pay for
Isn't that
art.
fantastic? This makes some of the most
That's why
gorgeous
he
little
has
paintings.
his trash can to beat his brushes, right? To contain the droplets, as it were.
Of these little
SciAnts,
bushy
we
looking-
learned you're a big beat the devil out of it fan, and I don't think you're gonna get what what your wish in this painting. You'll get a lot of other stuff, but yeah, no knife, right? No palette knife, no beating the devil out of it. No mountain.
We don't get any happy accidents either. I don't know what's going on with Bob. He was
None
in
of these are complaints.
He was in a mood when he did it.
It's very, very strong. Take a little Prussian blue and just do the corners. In order to make this
one,
look lighter,
there's no really spot for a happy accident to happen because the main painting's already been done behind there. Now you're just kind of changing the colors on it.
And that's as far as I'm going with that.
Now, when
Now,
Bob
maybe-
switched to painting, Ed, he said this is the hardest part when he started applying that liquid clear that led to the color glaze we're watching right now. Is it possible to screw that up? Why is that so hard in Bob's eyes? Tell us how we can screw it up.
Is, and yeah, there is. That's a really good point. Liquid clear is a super thin medium, and if you put too much liquid clear onto something, you literally watch your paint start running down the canvas because there's not enough adhesion on it. So what we normally do, what I normally do when I'm teaching is I put some liquid clear onto the person's canvas so that they know the right amount, have them work it on in, and then I'll take a paper towel to it and just set the paper towel on there to get up some of that excess.
Which is a very
So the paper
transparent.
towel makes a second appeance in your class.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't now.
Every
He's already done. Bob knows how much medium to put on a canvas, but when you're teaching people who haven't painted before, yeah, you need a little safety net for them.
Look at that.
And just
Nice.
like
A
that, we're
little bit of
colorized.
that on a 2-inch brush. And with that, let's start at the base. I want this to be the darkest, so we'll start here and work upward. There. So that'll give it a very dark look back in there. And you bring it up to wherever you want it to stop. But isn't that gorgeous?
So I've always
It's
wondered how much science Bob knew. I mean, so many artists know the actual chemistry and science behind the oil paints and stuff that they use. And I know Bob created his own line. And I don't know, you guys know so much more about Bob. I wonder how much of that was just intuitive from working with the paints for so long, or just an actual firm grasp of the chemistry that he was working with that informed how he was using his materials.
Let's make this brighter, like the sun. You know, when you walk through the woods, you can
I'll let you
see the
take
sun in
that
the
one.
background, and it just burns through the
Yeah,
trees. and
that's got a lot of
it's so
science in
bright.
it. No, but he was very involved in the in what he actually wanted in his paints, and so there was certainly a lot of working with stuff. I wouldn't say that Bob was a chemist, but he knew what he wanted to have happen with his paints, and people who were involved in the paints made that happen for him.
So it was like an intuitive understanding, really.
When you look at the sun that bright,
Yeah, that's incredible.
like it just burns right through that tree branch, and
Let's watch
you
Bob
can't
paint
see it.
heaven.
It's probably something in your eyes. I'll have to get an optometrist to explain all that to me, but this is the way I see it. There, but just go right over it. But look at that sun coming through
This
there
is
now.
why it's acrylic underneath there. It gets that bright look and that fuzzy look, so you can still see what's behind there.
For a
and then
long
comes
time,
the
I wanted to make
magic in
effects like this,
just a
but I
moment.
didn't really know how to do it and make it look right. And then when they came out with all the gessos like this, it made it so easy. Now anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And in your world, you should be able to do anything that you want to do. All right.
Right on, bro.
You have to decide how bright the sun is and how far it goes out. Totally and completely up to you. But look at it, it's so bright it almost hurts the eyes. Sometimes it's fun to make like light rays zinging through there. Now, you know, if the whole painting is wet, that's hard to do, because when you pull it across there, it's going to take your wet paint. But this is dry underneath. The gesso is dry. So we can, it's easier to show you. All you got to do is just decide where it lives. See, touch it and then give it a little pull. Because you're not going to destroy
Bob
anything.
said that there was a secret artist in all of us. I think there was a secret scientist in Bob.
Those trees. See, just wherever. Look at it. That
He
easy.
was
folks
definitely
paint
a
the sun.
professional observer.
You know, I've painted thousands of paintings, and I'm sorry I get so excited about this, but it amazes me how beautifully this works. There, and maybe even, I don't know, wherever. You make the decision. But that easy, you can have a painting that's just absolutely unreal.
With that one
And then
stroke,
it's just
he
a
just
matter
like
of
brings
going
the
back
sun
and
in
you can
through
add
the
in all
forest.
kinds
It's
of little
beautiful.
details that you want. You can put little sticks and twigs,
Some
or
folks paint the
it's a
sun.
good time.
Bob
You know, the
paints
little
sun
squirrel
doing
we
its
show on
work.
some of the other shows. Good time to paint your little squirrel in here.
Science.
Anything else that you want. Once again, I want to make this a little greener. And I've got a few minutes left here. Let me find my brush that had the blue on it. There we are. I'm going to add a little more of that blue right here. Show you how you can change this so easy. Maybe. Now that we can take our little Indian yellow color, and this will become brighter green. It's up to you. You have to make that decision, however you want it. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Here's where Bob was a master at looking at how much time he had left and figuring what little things can I do to go ahead and take it right to that 27-minute
That's
point.
basically all there is to this little painting. When
That
you do
also
it,
is a
experiment
science, I
with it.
would say.
You'll find all kinds of wonderful things that you can do that I haven't even thought about yet. Let's take a little bit of red.
And if you were teaching
And I'm
this, how long would a class? Obviously, it's more than a half an hour. How long would it be?
This is about an hour and a half, or or maybe 2 hours.
If you'd send me a photograph of what you do, because it's unbelievable some of the pictures we're getting.
My
And
sign
rule
your
of thumb
paintings?
is
doing
if I can paint it
fantastic
in
things.
20 minutes,
Until I hear
can
from
teach
you,
it in 2
I'd like to
hours.
wish you happy painting. And God bless my
Do you
friend.
sign your paintings with the liner brush?
I do, and in red,
Mueller.
just to carry on Bob.
Mueller. Well, we did it. We did it. That Ron Scalzo's favorite Bob Ross painting of all time. There it is. Until I see the next one.
it's one of the unusual Bob Ross, like more unusual Bob Ross paintings, but the way he transforms it with color, like just at the last moment, I feel like must be magical when you're the one doing it.
Oh yeah. Ed, I think you got a ringer in the chat here. Is this Pooh Paws? I think this Ed guy seems to know his stuff.
Yeah,
we also
amazing.
have shout out to, is it Pooh Paws? Am I doing that right? Or is it Pod Paws? I put
That
my
is
glasses
Pooh
on.
Paws. That is
Sparky
correct.
Pugwash. The sound of the brush and Bob's chill voice makes my brain calm. Jason Wiki Bob makes me smile every time, though I have a soft spot for his seascapes. We'll keep that in mind. And do stuff, make things in Bob we trust. All right. Thank you, Ed Mueller. Thank you, Lita from SciAnts. Ed, let's start with you. What do you got going on in your painting world? Are you going out to outer space anytime in the next couple of weeks or months? And where can we find you online?
Oh, goodness. Online, you can find me at artparty, the number 4, the letter U.com. You can see what we're teaching in the Las Vegas area. You'll also see us at the Creation Entertainment fan conventions. We've got 4 of them coming up in the next few months. We'll be in Vancouver, British Columbia. Not this weekend, but next weekend. The weekend after that will be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And at the end of October, we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee, all for the Supernatural TV convention, painting a variation of this painting. And then we'll be back home in Las Vegas for the big Supernatural convention in January.
Lita, SciAnts. Shout out to your husband who could not make it with us tonight because he's taking care of the little ones. But
He's holding down the fort, yeah.
But we're honored to have you. You are Twitch ambassadors. You are spreading the gospel of science as a husband and wife, which is probably a podcast episode in its own right. But for now, tell us where we can follow you guys and how we can tune into you here on Twitch.
Yeah, so we are on all of the socials, TikTok, YouTube, but our permanent home is, of course, here on Twitch. Again, talking all things science. So I hope to see you guys around. And then also a shout out, we will be at TwitchCon if any of y'all are in the area. We have a few opportunities for live streaming. The San Diego Zoo is going to let us be the first live streamers in to see their frozen zoo. So we have a lot of stuff going on, and I really hope to see you guys hanging out with us in chat or IRL if you end up hanging at TwitchCon.
Follow our guests, subscribe to their stuff, and please stay connected to all things Bob Ross, including our podcast adventures on Instagram at Bob Ross_The Joy of Painting. Bob Ross is now officially on Discord at Bob Ross Official. And next month, we're back with an all-new original episode about cabins and barns, plus our Bob Ross Rewatch Halloween special with more special guests, of course, lots of candy, and even more fun. You can find out more about the Joy of Bob Ross at bobross.com/podcast and check out our catalog of colorful episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Twitch. And if you've got a Bob Ross story to tell, you know we want to hear about it. Send us an email, podcast@bobross.com, or you can call us at 866-FANBRUSH. That is a real phone number. I'm Ron Scalzo, reminding you that you're only limited by your imagination, so don't forget to make all the little noises, right, Ed?
Exactly.
Make a noise, Ed. Do it. Come on, one noise before we go. Experiment, encourage others, stay strong, be true to yourself, and you too can be an almighty podcast host. Happy streaming and good game, my friends.